This summer, I took professional responsibility with Jim Sandman. It was a great class. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I went in thinking it was going to be super boring required class, and I had a great time. We covered the model rules of professional conduct that the ABA puts out, but we also covered a lot of cases that related to professional responsibility. And we had a lot of really interesting class discussions about legal ethics, which are not as straightforward as you might think, or as at least as I thought going into the class. So we had a lot of interesting back and forth between students and robust class discussion, even on Zoom, about what is best in different situations, how to treat clients, what your legal obligations are when you're in a firm versus private practice, when you're a public defender, and those were all really interesting questions. Over the summer, starting classes was a bit different than going remote with classes in the spring, because that time it was kind of a hectic thing where everyone had to all of a sudden go remote and go online. But I thought that with the summer classes, there was a lot more thought that went into how best to actually execute a class online. So for example, on the first day of our professional responsibility class, the professor said, like, if everyone could turn on their video, that would be great. And we'll just keep it on unless you have to turn it off. And I think that a lot of professors just didn't think of that in the spring semester. No one had done this before, but that really helped the class be more interactive, and people were just more engaged in general because of that. My advice for 1Ls in general, I feel like also applies during the pandemic, is that 1L is not as unprecedented as everyone makes it seem. Like, you went to college, you've taken classes before, and law school classes are difficult and they're a little bit different, but it's not anything that you can't handle. And I think the same will be true remotely. I think that I honestly don't know if I have any advice to give to law students about working virtually, because it's so new for all of us. But I think that that's a good part about being a 1L this year, because we're all figuring this out together, including professors. I think I would also say that something that I learned over the summer being in a new workplace remotely is that it's really important to be more proactive about reaching out and getting to know people, because it'll be awkward for everyone, but people really still appreciate making those connections. And it's really like, friends are what get you through law school, and that commiseration and getting to know people and complaining about your professors and complaining about your work or getting through the cases together, that's a critical part. And I think you can still do all of that remotely. I'm excited to do this last year of law school remotely with everyone, and I think it'll still be a lot of fun. And one day we'll all be together in person again, and I can't wait for that.